What does that even mean?
The verkrampters were the more conservative ones.
Okay.
And the verlefters were the more enlightened ones, so to speak.
Understand
who apparently understood.
Yeah. But the landscape is changing.
Yeah.
We have to
yeah. So he would get support from the verlechters as opposed from the verkrampters.
Okay.
But all these formations existed within parliament. Plus with other political formations.
Yes.
As like your...
De Klerk died without apologizing. He said he wanted to go to the family in Buipato to go and apologize. But he wasn't apologizing that it's his people who killed them. He was sympathetic because it's South African families who lost people in Buipato. He wanted to go there, but he says the apartheid police was not involved there.
You know,
and he said it went to court, it was proven that it was, that's declared. Declared says it was IFP.
No.
I want to understand this part because it's a very difficult part in our history. What actually happened?
It is that in the ANC, the Communist Party, the South African Indian Congress, these people have the mandate of their constituencies. But when where did you get your mandate? And you couldn't prove that you had a mandate to negotiate. And then he said, okay, fine. Very simple. We'll hold a referendum. But this referendum is going to be a referendum of white people. People have to decide whether they say yes to negotiations or no. And he said, but you must remember, if you say no, you are saying yes to continued sanctions against South Africa. Okay? And this country, and go and talk to the ANC in Lusaka. No? Other formations of white people want to go and speak to the ANC in Lusaka. And when they came back, they all had this in their mind, that what we thought that the ANC is not what we found in these people. These people are not as portrayed by the government. That's why now you started seeing people like Frederick van Zyslabert emerging.
Sure.
Because they no longer could not buy the story.
Yeah.
I'm saying, here's a question.
Sure.
$1 million question.
Yes.
What was the fight all about?
I honestly do not know.
So when you try and get answers this side,
yes,
the answers must respond to that question. Even on the other side, they must respond to that question.
Yes.
You realize, in essence, there was no reason whatsoever for us to fight.
This is why I'm saying someone made us fight, because it doesn't make sense. Let me give an example. You know, I read. I'll show the Zuma book here, and a lot of narrative comes from that.
No, man.
Ra le gore o ile gape. Ge re tsamaya re rile re tlo gopela di lesson ka CODESA. So ba bitsa CODESA 1 and 2. Nerola, there was a CODESA dance. People used to dance ka CODESA. And the elders will tell us, or you are playing with something very, very, very serious. And we do not know what they meant at the time. So we are the adults now who have to tell kids what is CODESA. And the difficulty, I think most of you will agree, the difficulty is we need to teach them about CODESA, but later now, we actually don't know about CODESA. Even if we read, I mean, we find it very difficult to understand CODESA. CODESA 1 and 2. I just want to give you space without channeling you into what is it that you want us to do. Tell us, according to you, what is CODESA? And you will start anywhere from how it was envisaged to where it is. What is CODESA?
Yeah, no, I think maybe let me start from the perspective of what, in essence, was the struggle for liberation of this country,
Okay.
and say that at all given points in time, it was envisaged that at some stage there's going to be a need for a convention of all parties concerned in South Africa to resolve the impasse that was there. Okay. Apartheid, South Africa, liberation, struggle, and so forth. And I think even at the time we had the Freedom Charter in 1956, the Freedom Charter sought nothing else but to bring about that convention. But of course, the apartheid government was not ready for such. That's why the gathering that adopted the Freedom Charter, it's a pity today is the name of another political party, the Congress of the People, because that's what it was, the Congress of the People.
And that is why from the Kliptown days,
Yes,
ANC felt that COPE is stealing from them.
yes, yes. But so that we don't get lost into that period, one thing clear is that after the unbanning of the liberation movement, in what is known as the Rubicon speech of F.W. de Klerk, it became clear that whatever settlement has to be reached has to be negotiated. And I think the ANC realized the importance of those negotiations. And it was in 1991 that the ANC called a meeting of no less than 92 other political formations into what was known as the Patriotic Front. These were political formations that would easily agree with the ANC on the approach to a political settlement in the country. And it was from that gathering that the whole question of
Continue
the
speaking. All right, yeah.
Convention of Democratic
South Africa.
South Africa was mooted. And key and paramount were two things. The type of South Africa envisaged in the form of the type of government that has to be put in place. And then secondly, the constitution that has to govern the structure. And this was the basis. So when the National Party was approached on that type of settlement, it became clear from the parties that participated in the Patriotic Front that you cannot have the National Party being the one that is driving the process. or even overseeing the transition.
Hold it there. I want us to talk about some elements in the Patriotic Front because it's going to be important, Kopeli.
Yeah.
So the ANC was leading the Patriotic Front.
Yes.
And parties inside were mostly aligned to what the ANC wanted. Was Inkatha Freedom Party in the Patriotic Alliance at that time?
Inkatha Party was not. And I'll explain to you.
Can you explain it later? Continue
Yeah.
with your line of thought.
Yeah. What was clear was that the ANC understood the art of negotiations. That
Yes. Can speak.
in negotiations, you don't want to have too many parties on the other side of the table.
Yeah.
You rather have many people on your side of the table. Mm-hmm. And that's how the ANC approached the whole thing. And you have to look at who do you define as a political strategic opponent. Because not all contradictions are antagonistic. Some people might not agree with you, but not because they are your enemies or opponents, but simply because they don't see things the way you see them. And the ANC was quite aware and awake to that, and that's how it approached the issue of the Patriotic Front. And from there, it became clear that those who were not with the ANC were by definition then therefore with the National Party.
Yes, sir.
And then going into CODESA 1, it became clear as to who the ANC was going to negotiate with. Okay? And it was right at that stage, at the beginning of CODESA 1, in 1991, in December, that the IFP withdrew.
So they withdrew from who? From both negotiations?
From the negotiations, they just withdrew.
Do you know the reason?
They had two reasons. One of the reasons was that they wanted the direct representation of the King of Zulus, King Zulu, in the negotiations.
Explain it.
They wanted the King of Zulus to have a delegation negotiating on behalf of the Zulu kingdom. Right? The second reason was that they wanted the government of KwaZulu to have a direct delegation negotiating on behalf of the government of KwaZulu, over and above the delegation of Inkatha Freedom Party. In other words, they were trying to multiply themselves. And when they could not get that to